Hi. I'd like to make an open video letter to Michael Moore. Many years ago, I happened to, through circumstance, I was at a protest outside Ms. Magazine in the city. This is way back when, before the internet, when we had the only way to get really any press was to actually go out and protest. So we were protesting, I think it was, take your daughter to women. Take your daughter to work day. I'll tell you how long ago that was. And we were protesting National Center for Men. That's what my group was, or I was with that group at the time. And we were protesting in front of the Ms. Foundation in New York City. And there was a news... the news was there. The news showed up. And they interviewed me, and it turns out that they later wanted to interview me further. And they ended up shooting some footage of me at my home and various places. I didn't know what it was going to turn out to be. I thought it was probably a news magazine of some sort. But it turned out to be TV Nation, Michael Moore's TV Nation television program on Fox 5. You know what he did? He tried to embarrass the men's movement, okay? I guess him being, I don't know if he was a feminist, but he was definitely a liberal, and liberals have to be feminists, I guess, in those days, at least if you don't think, I mean, liberals and Democrats should really think. Everybody should think before they swallow an ideology. If you want to be a Democrat, that's cool. You might have your reasons, but it doesn't mean that you have to be a feminist. And if you're a liberal, you don't have to be a feminist. Just look at feminism. Look at it plainly in the cold light of day. Obviously, Michael Moore didn't do that at the time, because when I was interviewed, I gave a lot of thoughtful reasons why men need a movement, and I gave them all out. I enumerated all of them, all the issues: men's rights, men's reproductive rights, the draft, selective service, dads losing contact with their children, children losing their dads through the family courts. But he chose to ignore actually, it's funny, I didn't know it was a Michael Moore production, because I never spoke to him and never was interviewed by him. I only found out later on when TV Nation came out, and turned out that this half-hour show, well, it was only a segment on the show. I don't know, it was maybe 5 minutes, 8 minutes for the whole segment to embarrass men's rights activists. And he followed 3 of us. I think one of them was U Nations, and I believe he was a men's rights activist. Tried to embarrass him. They showed him reading a poem. They made him sort of try to look silly. This other gentleman, I think he was, I don't really know what group he was in, but he seemed to like guns. He was a gun enthusiast, so they made fun of him in that way. They tried to make me say silly things. I didn't accommodate them, they tried to, of course, Michael Moore tried to make it into a angry white male, or angry white men movement, which we know that that's not what it is. That's not the main thrust of the men's human rights movement. But so, Mr. Michael Moore, I wish you would now re-examine feminism and the men's rights movement. I would hope that you could admit that men have many problems. Men are humans, right? And humans have rights, and men have special problems that women don't have. If you say that women have this burden of taking care of children, well, then men have the problem of retaining custody of their children and seeing their children, and children seeing their dads. Who's been fighting wars since time immemorial? Mr. Moore? Men have. Men have been forced to do it. I mean, you might say that men force men to do it, but the men who are forced to go, they were oppressed. There's no doubt about that. Women were never forced to go to war. Men were. So, Mr. Moore, look around you. The men's human rights movement is getting it done. You owe me an apology, trying to make me look like I was a bigot, which I'm not. I'm just trying to help men and boys. We believe in equality for women and men and girls. I believe we're in this together. The current feminist ideology don't include men or boys. So, Mr. Moore, if you really are equality-minded and you have a sense of righteousness, answer me. I would like you to answer me, email me. I would like a comment. Please re-examine the men's movement. Thanks. Bye-bye.